Hey everybody, this is my third attempt to try to get this online. This is for our upcoming test at my high school, Rio Americano High School, but it's pretty comparable to probably all the high schools that's using our textbook. Anyway, here we go. Let's get started. So I gave a handout to my students, and if you would like that handout, you can email me at jbullock, jbullock at sanjuan.edu, and I'd be happy to send you that link. So anyway, or I can give you that. Sorry about that. We had a fire
All
alarm.
clear. All students come back to class. All clear. Please come back to class.
Okay, so anyway, so that was what that was about. Okay, so here we go. So what I'm going to do is put this in vertex form right here. Okay, so 3x squared is the same as 3 times x minus 0 squared. Isn't that x squared right there? So that way I can see that the vertex is at 0, negative 6. So here it is down there. And this graph is going up because that's a positive 3. It goes up. 3 times 1 squared, 3 times 2 squared, 3 times 3 squared. So we have to square, so from the vertex, when I go over 1, we square that first. So 1 squared and then times 3. 1 squared is 1 times 3 is 3, so it goes up 3. From the vertex, when I go over 2, we square that and then times 3, which is 12. So I always square first how much I go over from the vertex, and then times this number after we square that. Okay, so anyways, there's our parabola right there. Okay, now I didn't ask this in this, but it might ask you, what's the axis of symmetry? The axis of symmetry would be where I can fold this guy right in half. It would be this line. It's x equals, a vertical line is x equals my 0 right there. Does this graph have a maximum or minimum? There's my soup. This graph has a minimum at y equals negative 6, and I tell my students, if you guys don't write x equals for the axis of symmetry or y equals for the max or min, then you will get taken some points off, okay, which I'm sure all teachers would. All right, so here's the vertex at negative 2, 7, okay, so I tell my students it's opposite this number, the same of this number. So opposite same. So that's why it's negative 2, 7. So here it is right there. This graph is going down because it's negative. It goes down. This number times 1 squared, that number times 2 squared, 3 times 3 squared, and so on. So you can see I got these over here. So I square that, how much I go over. When I go over 1, I square it, then times 3. That's how much it goes down. 2 squared is 4. 4 times 3 is 12. That's how much it goes down. If I did go over 3, I don't have enough room on this graph. 3 squared is 9. 9 times 3 would be 27. That's how much it would go down. 16 times 3 is 48. That's how much it would go down. It's going down because it's negative. So it's just a skinnier parabola. There it is right there. Okay. Mostly we want you to graph at least 5 points on this. Okay. So opposite same, so negative 3, negative 2. Okay, this graph is going down. It's going down because it's negative right there. It's going down a half of 1 squared, a half of 2 squared, a half of 3 squared. So just remember, you got to square it first, how much you go over. So if I go over 1, 1 squared is 1, but then times a half is 0.5. 2 squared is 4, but times a half is 2. 3 squared is 9. 9 times a half is 4.5. That's 16 times a half is 8. Okay, it's going down. That's how much, when I go from the vertex over these amounts, it's going to go that much down on each side right there. So there it is right there. There's that graph right there. Okay, so here, this is not in vertex form. This is in standard form. So x equals opposite b over 2a, where a is 2, b is 8, and c is that 15 right there. So it's going to be negative 8 over 2 times 2, which gets me negative 2. So to get the y coordinate, that's the x coordinate, we plug that in. I'll go over and get my soup so it stops beeping. I get 7 right there, so negative 2, 7. Just a minute. Some butternut squash soup. Yum, yum. All right, so I tutor at lunch, so I can't eat lunch when I'm tutoring, so I eat my lunch on my prep period. Anyways, this graph is going up. And I wished I'd have made the vertex down here because this graph is going up. It's going up 2 times 1 squared, 2 times 2 squared. This number, 1 squared, 2 squared, 3 squared, times that 2. So it would go up. So I can only do a couple of points on each side, or 1 point on each side, because I don't have enough room. But if I did go over 2, it would go up 8. So from here over 2 it'd go up 8 way up here somewhere. I just would run off. So that's about the best I can do on that graph. Okay, opposite b over 2a. So I get -1. Plug in -1 to get y, and I get y equals 8. Okay, and I did this. So I have a cold. I've had a cold for a good week. So if I make mistakes, be patient with me, guys. I make mistakes all the time. So sometimes people, that's all they see is a mistake. They don't say, good job, but they just say, hey, you made a mistake on this part. And whatever. Anyways, there's always haters. That's what I tell them. Okay, there's vertex. This graph is going down. It's going down because it's negative right there. And so it's going down 3 times 1 squared, 3 times 2 squared, 3 times 3 squared. So that's how much it goes down. There's my parabola right there. Okay. All right, so here we go. A ball is, now this should say a balloon is thrown. I misspelled something right there. So everything's referencing a balloon right here. So that should be a balloon. I just didn't type it in. That's part of my cold last night. Anyways, I got this flip chart took several hours to make, and I just got exhausted last night. So I'm sure there's a mistake somewhere in here. I caught a couple already when I was teaching it to my kiddos. All right, so let's draw a picture. A balloon is thrown from a building. So I'm on top of this building, and I throw a balloon, and it starts going back down over here. So here's a corny little picture right here, okay? So what's the balloon's maximum height? Well, that would be my y-coordinate of my vertex right there, okay? So here's the parabola equation. So I'm going to get the x-coordinate, which is my h, which is my t in this time, which is time. So I'm going to go opposite b over 2a. So let's do that right there. So I get 1. That's my time. So 1 second it reaches its maximum height. So we plug in 1 second, and we get that balloon gets up to 36 feet high. So how long does it take for the balloon to reach the maximum height? Well, that was that 1 second right there, okay? How long is the balloon in the air? Well, when it hits the ground, when that balloon goes all the way up and then it comes back down, then it hits the ground, it's no longer in the air. So that's when the height is 0. So we set this equal to 0 and solve for that guy. And for now, you guys, I'm not gonna solve this guy for 0 because the next module is all about factoring. So we'll factor that later in the next module. So anyways, but it's in the air until it hits the ground again. So how tall was the building? Well, that's before we threw it, when the time was 0. So I just plugged in 0 up here. So the time is 0. So 0, 0. So 32 feet. That's how tall that building is at 32 feet. Okay. All right, so solve these guys graphically. Okay, what that means is I'm going to graph this parabola on the left and graph this horizontal line on the right. I'll do this guy in red and do this guy in blue right there, okay? So there's the vertex right there, and I notice 2x squared is the same as 2 times x minus 0 squared, so I can see the vertex is at 0, -8. Okay, y equals 0 is just a horizontal line at the y equals 0 right there. So where do those guys intersect? They intersect right there at -2, 0, and 2, 0. So the x values are -2 and 2. All right, I forgot to put those on there last night when I was making this flip chart, so I did that in class today. So that's why you see my writing right there. Anyway, all right, so now if you have the handout that our school gets, that is a -3, but I changed it to a +3 because it's easier just to change it to a +3 because I graphed the equation as a +3, not a -3. Part of my cold and just getting tired last night. So I'm going to do the left side in blue. Notice there is no K right there, so I put a light blue +0 right there. So this represents this side right here, and then y equals 8 is that side. All right, so the vertex is at -3, 0, opposite same. So to the left 3, 0, and it goes up half of 1 squared, half of 2 squared, half of 3 squared. So there's the left side parabola. The right side is that horizontal line. They intersect way up there. What's the x values? X equals -7 or 1. All right. Okay, this one, same thing. I'm going to graph this parabola right here and then graph the horizontal line, y equals 0. So I think I just did the parabola first. So x equals opposite -4 over 2 times -1. So opposite b over 2a. So I get x equals -2. So sorry, I did that right here. So -4 is +4 over 2 times this -1 right here. So 4 over -2 is -2. then plugged in -2 into that, and I get 6, so my vertex is at -2, 6. So let's graph. I'm just doing the left side first. Okay, and then we'll graph the line y equals 0 after that. So -2, 6. This graph is going down because it's negative. It goes down 1 squared, 2 squared, 3 squared, or 1 times 1 squared, 1 times 2 squared, 1 times 3 squared, because there's a little imaginary 1 if there's no number there, so -1. So it's going down. So there it is, over 1, down 1, over 2, down 4, over 3, down 9. Whoops, I missed that graph. That should have went over 1 more. Dang. Anyway, so but I did get where it goes through the axis. Oh, I did get it. There we go. Never mind. Here, I know what I did. This should go right there. There we go. Doesn't that look better? Huh? Yeah. Okay, so now we graph the line y equals 0, so the x values, and this one's a guesstimate, you guys. I don't think you'll have any guesstimates on there. I think they'll be all integer values. But where's the x value that it's intersecting? So if that's the origin right there, this is about -4.4. I don't know, guesstimate, I guess. And this would be, I don't know, maybe 0.5, maybe 0.4, maybe 0.3. I don't know, 0.30. This would be at -4.4, comma 0. So where's the x's? So I get that for that guy right there. Again, your test, you won't have guesstimating on those. Okay, so we set all of these factors equal to 0 by the zero product property, and then we just start solving for x on those guys. So I get, whoops, I forgot to write -2 over here. I don't know what happened to it, so there should be a little -2 on this side also, so -2. So anyways, let's see. So I get 2 from this one, I get -2 from this one, and 3 doesn't equal 0, 3 equals 3, so I disregard setting the constant equal to 0, the number equal to 0. Okay, same on this one, so set those factors equal to 0, and then divide by 7, and 0 divided by any number is 0, and then subtract 5, so we get 0 or -5 on that. Okay, here 5 equals 0, 2x plus 3 equals 0, x minus 4 equals 0, 5 doesn't equal 0. So just solve the other guys, and so I get -3/2 or 4 on that. Okay. All right, so here's a function. So write the function in vertex form. So the vertex is right here. This is my hk. So what's that at 3 negative, what's that, -5? I don't know, what is it? Yeah, 3 -5. All right, so y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. So remember, opposite same. So opposite this number is -3, the same as that number. So -3, -5. Now we just got to figure out a. So we can figure out a by substituting in this value, which is at 1, -3, or this value right here, which is at, what's that, 5, -3? I'm going to choose this one right here. So if we substitute that in, we can solve for a, and I get a equals 1/2, so our equation is y equals 1/2 x minus 3 squared minus 5. Again, sorry, I'm going fast. It's just a long flip chart here, you guys. Write the equation for the axis of symmetry. The axis of symmetry is where I can fold it right down in half right here. It's always x equals, a vertical line is x equals 3 for the axis of symmetry. All right, now if they did, does this graph have a maximum or minimum? It has a minimum because it goes down and mins out at y equals -5. So they asked me for the axis, or the minimum. I'd say y equals -5. Okay, so to put it in standard form, I first got to FOIL out x minus 3 times x minus 3. That gets me x squared minus 6x plus 9. And then I'm going to put the 1/2 through. So remember, you got the 1/2 right here. And then we got to take off this -5. Well, here's the -5. Isn't 10/2 the same as 5? So here's my -5, and I chose 10/2 so I can combine it with this 9/2 right here. Okay, so 1/2 of x squared is 1/2 x squared. 1/2 of 6x is 3x, -3x. 1/2 of 9 is 9/2. So I changed 5 to 10/2 right there. So 9/2 minus 10/2 is -1/2. So that's there it is in standard form right there. Alrighty, okay, what else do we have? So same thing, so write this function in vertex form. Okay, so up here is the vertex over here. There's the vertex hk. Remember, opposite same right there. So this one's at a times x plus 3 squared plus 5. Okay, to figure out A, we just substitute in any point. I chose to substitute in this point right here, 1, -3. So this is X, this is Y. So anyways, let's see. So this should be a -3. Did I goof up again? Dang it. That should be a -3 right there. I did. Yeah, this should be right here, a -3. Dang, that's going to mess up everything. Okay, well, sorry, I made a mistake on this one, you guys. So that should be a -3. So when I go -5, this should be a -8 right there. So when I change that right there, that's going to change all my answers right there. I apologize for that, you guys, but I don't have time to keep going back. I'm so sorry. Anyways, you should get 2, okay, -2. All right, this should be a -2. You know what? I'll go up to the board and do that. So again, this should be a -8 right there. -8 because this was my -3. Dang. And then this should be a 2 right there. All right, so let me go up to the board. I know what I'll do. I'm in my class. I'll just go up to the board and fix all of that. So this should be a -2. Okay, let me do that. And I'm going to go up to the board. I'll turn my computer so you can hear me. Sorry. Okay, just a minute. Sorry, guys. All right. So let me grab that. So this should be right here, a -2. So here's the equation. Y equals -2 times x plus 3 squared plus 5. And then so I'll write the equation for the axis of symmetry. So it's right here. Here's the axis of symmetry right there. So x equals -3. And then to put it in standard form, you guys, I got to FOIL out x plus 3 first. Squared is going to be x squared plus 6x plus 9. And then I'm going to multiply the -2 through. X squared plus 6x plus 9. And then add the 5 at the end. So -2x squared minus 12x minus 18 plus 5. So here it is. I'm going to put it, well, you can probably see it down here. Actually, I'll put it over here on the left in a black font here. So -2x squared minus 12x, and then y equals this, sorry, minus 12x, and then what's that, minus 13? Okay, apologize. That's the answer right there, you guys. I'm going to click through fast on the rest of these guys to get, okay, so I made a mistake on that. That's mistake. Okay, all right, these I think are good, you guys. Okay, so right in quadratic, they function in vertex form, show all work. Okay, notice where they start matching up, you guys. You see how these numbers match up and these numbers match up? So there's the vertex right there. That's the vertex. Okay, so put that in, and then we can, to figure out A, we just plug in any one of these other points right here. I think I chose 0, 3. So this right here, there's my x, there's my y, so I plugged it in for x and y right there, and I'm just solving for A right now, okay? So when I plug that in, add that out, I get A equals 4. There it is in vertex form. All right, okay, one more I think. Okay, so where do these guys match up? Looks like they match up here, whoops, right here and right here, so that means that's the vertex right there. So we just put that in and get that to solve for A. I chose the 0 again, so A equals 5. So there's our answer right there. All right, you guys, I hope that makes sense. Sorry about my mistakes, and take care.